some students standing over there. I'm really sorry about that. So I didn't expect so many students, because usually when I was at university, many years ago, I skipped morning lessons. That's what you are doing now, I'm sure, okay? Especially that early. So I'm very touched in this moment, okay? Now, I will cut the long story short because I don't need to introduce myself, as Alex and Joey have introduced me. So now for the business report here, it is a workshop. Okay, it's a workshop. The workshop lasts maybe approximately 1 hour 30 minutes. And so, will we be seated or... Okay, just stand there. Okay, I think somebody will help you, okay? Then I continue. Now, this is the business report, the aim. Now, I have to tell you the aim, or aims, because there are 2 aims for this workshop. Firstly, what I planned, and you have a handout in hand. That's why I should apologize first. Maybe the number is not enough, so some of you may not have this handout. I think the coordinators will help you later. Now this is the handout. Maybe we'll change to the visualizer. This one. And it has 20 pages. I'll go through these 20 pages, and the aims are, firstly, to share my experience with you in report writing. The report will be pertinent to your case study here. Now, I presume that you have a case study in hand, which is about a bakery shop in China. Now, I will not, although I'll not tell you what I think about this case so as to make the game fair. I have thoroughly studied the case, but I'll not give you an answer, of course, okay? And my answer may not be the answer that will make you win the competition. But I have to wish you good luck after listening to my explanation of how to write a business report. And then you go home and dig deep into the case, and you should come up with some good idea or ideas for the bakery shop. And then maybe you will have a chance to win the competition, okay? So the first thing is to share my experience with you in report writing. And secondly, I'm going to tell you or to give you some useful concepts about business report writing in terms of its lexis. Lexis means the vocabulary used, okay? And grammar, that means the syntax, okay? Okay. And the goal, there's only one goal. The goal is to help you write a formal and felicitous report. This is the only goal, okay? So let's turn to page 1, or page 2, better call it, okay? Because page 1 is the title page. Now, may I refer you to the title page as well? You find that this title page is actually required in your case study. Now, if you don't have the case study in hand, it doesn't matter. Maybe I'll show you here. Oh, I should not give you... I shouldn't give you the answers that I've written down. It doesn't matter. Now here, you find that, now this is not in the handout, okay? The case study. It requires you to, here, a maximum of 2 pages, and then 2 additional pages for cover page and references. Now the cover page is actually the title page, which is like this. Eight cm. You don't need to write down anything because everything has been included in your handout, okay? But you know that this is the so-called title page, okay? Now let's go to page 2, and I'll do some underlining with you. Let's go through what I've written. To cut the long story short, if you are going to write a business report in 2 pages, only 2 pages, then something should be left out. For example, the preamble should be left out. But don't get me wrong. You may ask me, if I'm going to teach you how to write a business report simply for the sake of this business competition, then why do you teach me a formal report with a full layout? The main point is that during your study, your life of study and work, you are from time to time required to write a report. So if this is a chance for me to explain to you what a report is like, it's better for me to give you an introduction of the full form report. The first part should be the preamble. Now this is a preamble. Preamble, in British accent, it is a preamble. In American accent, it's preamble. Now what does it mean by a preamble? A preamble is a background. I'll explain to you, of course. A background to the main business of the report. Now, up to this moment, you may not have any idea, not even the rough idea of how many words you will write in 2 pages, A4. If it is 1.5 line spacing, I think it will be 800 words or so. Yeah, around 800 words, I think. Then you don't have any idea about how many words you'll write. Maybe you'll write very long, maybe like after you have written up the draft, it is 1,200 words or even 2,000. Then you have to trim it down. Or maybe you are only 400 to 500 words, I don't know. So it's better for you to give a cushion to your report. This part is a cushion. Now a preamble is requires you to write about the present situation. Like in the case, you can have some idea from the introduction part. This is the introduction part from your the case study, case description. Why is there a problem in the bakery shop? And what's happening in China? Something like that. This is the preamble. It's something about the context, why you have such a case study. So this is the preamble, okay? And title page, that's what I just described. So I will just underline something like this one. And 8 cm down the page, it is the title. The title will be this one, as in the case study, okay? And then 8 cm up will be your name as author. Now this is conventional, even though it is not exactly 8 cm, it doesn't matter, but it's better to type it up like this. This will make your report more formal, and this helps you embellish, that means to make it beautiful, okay? To embellish your report, okay? And then there will be a date, if it is required. It's usually 2 to 5 cm below your name. 2 to 5 cm is acceptable, okay? Usually it's 2 cm to 5 cm, not more than 5 cm down it. For example, on this title page of mine, it's 2 cm. Okay, within 2 to 5 cm, it's okay. And then table of contents. Now, this part will be saved. That means scrapped, as you heard this term quite recently about the national education, okay? You scrap this part for your report because you are only, as I've said, you're only required to write in 2 pages. So you don't have enough space to write the table of contents, so just skip it. But when you are going to write a very thick report for your you don't have a degree exam, I know, but maybe for your dissertation or thesis somehow in your life, you will make a full form report. That's what I'm doing for the master's degree in Hong Kong U. I need to to work out a book like 120 pages, okay, about applied linguistics. Then you have to use every part so that it can make up to 120 pages, okay, something like. Not very environmentally friendly, I know, okay? So if you are required to write on the table of contents, make sure that the section names, that means the sections and subsections, should be exactly the same as in the report itself. You have a lot of section names and subsection names. They should be in the exact order and exact wording as what is inside the report. An abstract. Now this word is pronounced as abstract. Now, from time to time, I'll tell you how to pronounce some words, because just now when I was chatting with Telly, one of the coordinators of this workshop, he told me that the winning team or the final teams, I don't know, okay, the final teams will have a chance to deliver an oral presentation, right? An oral presentation. That means you need to stand outside and then speak in English. So pronunciation is very important. It's essential, I'd say. So from time to time, I'll tell you how to pronounce some words. Although this is not the main part, I know. Now, abstract, it means a summary. A summary. Now, the summary should comprise these few items. 1, the purpose of the report. 2, the principal findings. Now, this principle means the main findings, okay? Conclusions and recommendations. This is to save the reader time. Your reader, for example, may be the owner of the bakery shop. He is very eager to know what he can do according to your report, or he wants to get some recommendation, but maybe he doesn't have time to read through your whole report. So he will cut the long story short by just reading your abstract. Okay. Oh, thank you. Is that big enough? Oh, I should take care of the people at the back. Can you read this now? Is it better? Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's why there should be an abstract. This part is important. Before the aims, there should be an abstract. That's why I explained very clearly the preamble part. The reason is that maybe some students don't know what the difference between preamble and abstract is. Preamble is about the context, about the macro environment. Why is there such a case study? For example, as in a case, okay, I'll give you some hint. It's about a bakery shop in China. So what's China like now? And what happened in 1979, as mentioned in the case study. And then why is there some problem with the bakery shop? Then this is the preamble. It doesn't touch the aims or findings whatsoever. By contrast, abstract will give a very brief summary. After you have done everything, you have finished the report, you have to write 1 to 2 short paragraphs, better one, okay, 1 paragraph, to give a summary of these 4, to summarize what you have written, okay? And then the aims. Now, aims, findings, conclusions are of utmost importance. And also there comes recommendation at the back, okay? I'll turn to page 3 later. Now, what's the aim? The aim is simply to say what the purpose of the report is. I know you understand it. That's why I just give you some idea. And make sure you underline this so we can go home and check whether you understand everything. And the details. Now, this part is optional. The details of who requested the report. In this case, it's the bakery shop owner, maybe, okay? But this is optional. If you want to mention who wants the report, you can put it under aims, okay? Now, for findings, this is very important. You need to go home or even go out to do some research study, like going to the library and take a look at books, or even conduct some opinion polls or do a questionnaire, a survey, sort of things like this. These are findings. Now, so you need to underline these, derived from discussions, internet searches, library visits, market research. Yes, okay. In this case, I think everything is included in the case study, but at least you need to find something to solve the problem. Like you may need to read some books about human resources management. Somebody who is studying business management will understand that. Maybe you need to read through books to make sure you know how to solve problems with a shortage of labor. Okay, then this will involve the name of the book or books or journals that you're referring to. In order to avoid plagiarism, you need to use a very specific, which is required, okay, to show respect for the author or authors of the books and journals you are reading. You need to use the APA system to quote it under bibliography that we're going to mention here. So don't just copy from books, because it is your responsibility to tell people where you get the quotation or quotations from. Okay, so this part, and then conclusions. The conclusions is this part is very important because you have to conclude. But how to conclude? Now, one thing which is very important, I have to write down here, is that for findings, no explanation whatsoever is required. If you need to explain something, for example, you got something important from a survey. You got something important from a survey, and you just put that under findings. You got that something under findings. But if you want to explain why it happened like that, because why it happened will usher in, that means will lead people to know why there is such a conclusion, then you'll put the explanation under conclusion. If you need it. If you need it. From time to time, you will be tempted to explain something. You'll be tempted by yourself or from the flow of your report. Don't put any explanation. Don't put any explanation under findings. Oh, I have to underline conclusion something. Okay, it should be in relatively small number. This is very important. People or maybe you want to give as many conclusions as possible. It means you are very confident of yourself, or you think that the more conclusions, the better, because the reader wants more conclusions. That's why the boss gives so much money to do market research. But actually not. You should keep the conclusions to a small number as possible. They must be reasonable conclusions, because from the small number of conclusions, you will give a small number of recommendations. This is why a report is valuable. This part is the most valuable part. That's why you can't skip this part. You can't. Recommendations. Now you have to recommend. To recommend on the basis of the conclusions you have reached. Okay, so based on your conclusions, make sure when you write the conclusions, you have something to write on the conclusions. That's the recommendations. Okay. Now there are two ways. If the conclusion, or maybe in your study, there are three findings which can be concluded, and there are three conclusions. Okay. And now I just call it A, B, C. Okay, just call them A, B, C. For A and B, the conclusions are positive. If they're positive, then the recommendation is that you can go ahead, okay? But if for C, it is a negative conclusion. Negative means it's not very good. There's really some problem with your company. Then in the recommendation part, you have to give give suggestions to the boss on how to solve the problem. This is what recommendation is like, okay? It's very simple. Now you have to keep it to a small number. But how to write it, what grammar, that means syntax, or what words, that means lexis, should be used. This will be explored in the second part of this handout, okay? Now we have a quite full form of report, except that we need to pay attention to the appendixes. Now this is appendixes, is the plural form. The singular form is appendix, I'm sure you know it. Now this part is the same as in your case study. In your case study, page 5. Now this is your case study. That's given by me from Stella somewhere. 2 additional pages for cover page. Cover page is the title page. That's what I said. And references. Now the term references is this term. It's most probably put here. Appendixes. Appendixes is something equivalent to references. Because there's no such part or subheading as references. What is called references should be appendixes, okay? But what is this appendixes part? What should be included there? It should be something like this. So you underline it. It's a separate part, okay? Maybe in one page, you write the appendixes. Maybe it's very short, maybe very long. It depends on whether you have a graph, diagram, or not, okay? Now, for each category, you have additional information like questionnaire design, and then graphs, diagrams, which are not central to the report. What does it mean by not central? If it's not central, then why should I include it in the report? Now, for questionnaire design, for example, you designed a questionnaire because you think that a questionnaire may help in your study, like you have a Likert scale, like fully agree, neutral, don't agree, fully disagree. You have seen such kind of questionnaire. You have this design, if as the case may be. Then after this study, where should you put the questionnaire in your report so that or the boss or the reader knows what you have done? This questionnaire should be put under references. So then you have Appendix 1. And then maybe there comes Appendix 2. You may put in some diagram or graph. For example, in the situation of a graph, maybe in China, you are exploring the potential of business in a province. Then maybe you need to give a graph like a 5-year population growth in that area, which is given by the authorities concerned in China. Now this is not the main part, but it has a reference value. Then you will put it under appendixes. Okay, so to be or not to be, that is the question, okay, for you. Okay, if you don't think that this appendixes is important, then you may just discard this part. You don't need to pay attention to it. As in the case study, if you think necessary, you may put it under references. Then the references means appendixes. Okay, this part is what I said, very important. bibliography. Now this what is bibliography. It's like put all the books or references that you have quoted from. You need to underline this. Example 1, a book. And example 2, a journal. This is simply to show respect. For the original author or authors. Okay. The problem is how to make it look like a report. Now, I'm not quite sure whether you have learned the APA system. As a university student, you have to know, and it's your responsibility to know, how to quote a source. If it is a book, it's very different from a journal. Now, under bibliography, I've given you some idea about what you need to write down, like the author's name, the publisher's name, and the place of publication. But how can we arrange them in a formal way? Here, you have to underline and you have to follow this sequence. If you go back home and look at your textbook, I mean the university textbooks, at the back you have bibliography, a long list, and then they must be in this order. If you know it, okay, that's good. If you don't know it, just follow this sequence. Author first, and then a full stop. Now, this Partridge. Now, this is really a book. I quoted it from a list on on the course that I'm studying at Hong Kong U. This is a Partridge. Partridge is not the first name. It's the last name. You only quote the last name, and the first name should be in initial. Okay, in initial, like B. That person will be called Mr. B. Partridge. Okay, but we write Partridge, the last name first, and then the first name in initial, and then the date of publication. Now, we call the date actually only the year. The year of publication is quoted. And then there comes the title. Now, the title must be in italic. Here, in italics. Must be. It must be in italics. Now, I emphasize this point, and I reiterate this point, because the italic part for a book is different from the italic part for a journal. Okay? So here we are talking about the book, then we highlight this, okay, in italics. That means it's not in the regular form like this one, okay? And then the place of publication, the place, and then the publisher. The publisher, like for example, if it is published by Longman, then Longman is a group. Or Pearson Group, the Pearson, then the Longman is written here, and London is written here, or the USA is written here, or San Francisco is written here, okay? Now, for a journal, still, author is the first, the date is the second, then the title of article. Now, look here, the title of article. Now, what does it mean by journal? A journal means a kind of a publication with many pieces of work inside. And you only take out one piece of work, then you have to put down the title of the article, but not in italics. The italic part goes to the name of journal. Okay, and then there comes the volume. Volume means volume 5, volume 6, and then the page numbers. The page numbers, for example, 67 to 80. Now, what will happen after you have done all these? Let's go to page 5. Now, I'm not intending to skip page 4, no. But on page 5, you see the full form report. Let's go to page 5 first before we go back to page 4. Page 5, you have this one. So you have the list of I would say subheadings here. Which parts are very important for your case? It should be the abstracts, the abstract, the aims, findings. Now, I'll explain methods very soon, okay? Findings, conclusions, recommendations, appendixes, bibliography. But these two parts are optional. Optional means maybe you don't have these two parts. I don't know. It depends on whether you have quotation or quotations from any books. Appendixes, maybe you don't have any appendixes, you haven't conducted any market survey, you don't have any questionnaire done, then you don't have these two parts. Okay? But for a title page, of course you have the title page because it is required. Now for these 5 parts, they are very essential. They are the core parts in a report. Then why did I skip this part? This one. It depends on whether you want to have this subheading or not. If you go back, may I refer you back to here, to page 2, you see that under findings, some people like putting the method or methods, or what we call methodology, under findings. As the first 2 to 3 sentences to start findings, a person or a student like you can tell the reader or readers what the methods have been used. But if you want it to be nice looking, it's better for you to put a subheading called methods before findings. And then you put all the methods you have used, like internet search or book reading or a questionnaire or lab tests or forensic examination. Every method that you have used under methods. So it depends on you whether you have enough space to do this. So methods can be incorporated in findings, or maybe it is a separate entity. That's okay? Okay. Now for lab tests, maybe in this case the bakery shop lab tests are something redundant or even unrelated. But maybe if you're a science student, you need to draft a report for your scientific studies. Then maybe you need lab tests, like the tragedy that happened last week. Maybe everybody knows that. There is a report going to be done on the death of a lady. The death of a lady in an aesthetic parlor. That means a beauty parlor, because she had received the intravenous infusion. And nobody knows why she died afterwards. It is, of course, a septic shock. But what caused the septic shock, there will be a report. And then there may be lab tests. Okay? So lab tests will be under this category. And also forensic examination. Forensic examination is to solve crimes. Okay? So everything is included here. Okay, so let's go back to page 4. We are talking about part B. Now, so we have a full form report. We know that what components to be included in a report. Then here comes the most interesting part, maybe you think is interesting. It is the language. Language includes grammar and lexis. Lexis means words. Okay. If you want your report to look like a report, there must be some kind of codes, C-O-D-E-S, or codes. The codes are related to grammar. There must be some particular grammar. That means English for specific purposes. Because you are writing English for a very specific purpose, which is to write a report, there must be some protocol. Some protocol, that means some kind of format, okay, or a style for report writing. So if you write like a piece of composition, like in the A-level examination or the DSE that you have passed through, okay, then it's very redundant and it's impossible to write like that, okay? Yeah, because for 400 words you write a piece of composition, some items or even most items are redundant. But for a report, you have to cut the long story short. That's why you have to use specific grammar and specific lexis. Now, there are 3 stages according to what we are going to do, okay? Now, 3 stages of report writing is before you write, compiling data, and writing the report. These are the 3 steps. For the before you write, this 1 correspond to this 1, this is 2, this is 3. Before you write, you need to know who the reader is. In this case, it is the boss of that bakery shop. Okay? But why is it important? Because you know that a report may not be read by only one person. Now, for example, the boss of the bakery shop will read your report, so you need to report on the case to him only. So it's easy. But maybe in your future life, you are going to write a report like that report, the report of the death of a woman, okay, in the beauty parlor. The people who will read this report include the police force and the Department of Health. And then later, there will be secondary reader. The secondary reader is the public. The public will have the right, and they have the right to read the report. So there may be secondary reader. In this case, it's a very simple case. The bakery shop, there is only one reader, okay? Or maybe the one reader is the shop itself or the owner itself, okay? Or himself or herself, okay? Here, what is the relationship between you and the reader? Now, relationship is important in the sense that, are you working in that company? Now, it defines whether you will use the pronoun we and I. if you're working in the bakery shop, okay, this is only an imaginary case because you need to dig deep into the case study. If you're working for that company, then you may use the word we. We means you are part of the company. But if you're a separate entity, like you're working for a marketing research company, which is employed by that bakery shop to conduct a study of the human resources. And in this case, you can't use we very often. We will be seldom used. Now this is the formality. That's why I write here, the relationship, is it a superior or subordinate or an outside consultant? In this case, it is an outside consultant. You are an outside consultant, according to my understanding. Okay, so it affects the way you write, whether you can write formally, or you should write formally, or you can write semi-formally. It depends on the relationship. Okay, in this case, it must be formal because it is a separate company. And is your reader aware of the background to the report? Now, this is why preamble comes into play. You need to write a preamble part. I strongly advise you to write on the preamble part because the reader may not understand what is happening around. So you need to give the context or the preamble to a description of the background of the situation now. Okay, that's what I told you just now. You can get some idea from the introduction of your case study. Okay, here and here. This is the before you write. You need to know the relationship between you and the company. Okay, then you will choose whether you use we or I. Now the case is if I am an outside company, as in this case, then what can I do? If I don't use I don't use we. For example, we went into the bakery shop and found that now we have to use the word we. But if we is not allowed, then what can we do? Okay, then we need to use an impersonal it plus a passive verb form. That's why a report is commonly used in the, there will be a lot of passive verbs used in a report, okay? Now, compiling data. Compiling data is the second thing you need to do. It's like findings, okay? Then all you need to do is to gather data for your report, of course, and then you should read and do surveys as much as possible. Now, why is it like this? Because here, as you accumulate findings, you start to form a picture of the complete report. And then you may formulate hypotheses. This is very important. I experienced quite a lot in the past 1 year when I worked on my dissertation, the master's degree dissertation. From zero, that means in English we say from scratch to something. You don't know how many things you need to write up the report or the dissertation or hear the report. So you should gather as much information as possible. Then you can, if you have a lot of information, you can formulate, you have an idea about what your hypothesis is like. For example, in this case study, now just for example, okay, in this case study, there is really some human resources problem. You think that there is really some or maybe some problem with the company in human resources because there are too many family members in the company. And there is too little machinery. That's why they need a lot of family members just to do handwork. Okay, to do handwork, to get their hands dirty, to work there. So this is not efficient. Then you advise the company to use more machinery and try to get more people from outside. Don't use family members, something like this. Now, how do you know this? Because you have read a lot of books and you have referred to a lot of cases of similar kind. Okay, so if you have more information, you know what happens to this company. If you don't have anything in hand or in your mind, then of course you don't know how many words you will write, and then you don't have any hypothesis. You don't know what answer you'll get. From the answer, you get an answer first. You get an answer, and then you go back to deduce what should be found. Okay, that's why you need to have a lot of information. Now, usually the sources of information are from here. Now there are 7, but the most useful ones are previous reports. There must be some cases of similar kind. Human resources problems happen everywhere, in every company, as big as the HSBC, as small as Singona. Okay, Singona is another bakery shop. Okay, I'm quite sure, okay? And then you have opinion surveys like questionnaire, and then internet search. Now this one, maybe you have overlooked. Competitors' activities. Now this is a very suitable way for your case. If you want to know the bakery shop, you have to take a look at the competitors of the bakery shop. For example, I take Hong Kong as an example. If you want to start a bakery shop in Wan Chai, okay, and you need to do some market research, you look at whether there is a Maxim next to you, whether there is Saint Donna, okay, Saint Donna, or maybe whether there is a Taipan. Okay, you'll take a look at the competitors and see their price structure and see how many chefs there are in the company or in the bakery shop. Per bakery shop, how many chefs they have employed, something like this, okay? Last but not least, interviews, okay, if singular is interview. Interviews may be something that you write down. Now, you may include this as a recommendation in your case study, because this is just an imaginary case study. You don't really need to do everything. You just give suggestions. For example, you think that you have it's better to have an interview for the reader. That means the boss of the bakery shop to interview he himself interviews the applicants. It's better, or maybe you have done some interviews with the family members, or they gave you some responses, and then you know what problems there are in the company. So these are interviews, okay? And then here, let's go to page 5. So what I've told you, one, before you write and then compile data, that means you get the data, how you get the data from. And then the third part is the writing your report. That's what we have explained. So I'll skip this part. So let's go deep into the grammar and word choice. That means the lexis under each item, the abstract. For the abstract, now we should have a case to follow. It's easier for us to understand. So I use this one. Read above abstract, you see 3 lines. Below are examples of each of the most important parts of the report, okay, the most important parts. And this report is entitled, now, let's take this as an example. This is an imaginary case study, like a report on the feasibility. Feasibility means possibility, workability, okay, of expansion into Shanghai and Guangdong provinces, People's Republic of China, that means China. Maybe I'm a manufacturing company and I want to go into the Guangdong and Shanghai markets. I want to know whether there is possibility for me to go in, which is similar, very similar to your case. But this case is about the market potential, but in your case, it's about human resources. Okay, I try to make them comparable, but not exactly the same because I don't want to affect your decision on your case. Okay, so here. If I want to write the abstract for this report, then what should I write? Now, look here, the preposition. Usually we'll start, for a title page, we will start with the 2 words, report on, and then the title. Understand? Don't just write the title. You should write the 2 words, report on, just like here, on page 1. If it is not this one, this is the title for today. For your case study, you'll write report on blah, blah, blah. The problem is, it is report on. It's not report for. It's about collocation, something you should have learned when you were in Form 6 or Form 7. Report on a case, not report for a case, okay? That's why it's important. It would be very ugly to have the second word wrong in your report. The second word of your report is grammatically wrong. Can you imagine how ugly it will be like? Okay. So the abstract. Okay. I just say this for your own sake. Okay. Now, for the abstract, you should do 3 things. First, a shortened version of the purpose. Now, as I've said, there must be a summary of the purpose, and then methodology. That means the methods, and then the main conclusions and recommendations. Okay. That's what we have mentioned. Then let's look at the words inside. Now, this is an example according to the imaginary case. Now, there's nothing wrong with neutral. Let me clarify first. Both neutral and formal are right. They are right, grammatically correct. But which one is better? It's the formal one. For the sake of writing a report, the formal one is better than the neutral one, although the neutral one has nothing wrong. Okay? Look here, neutral. This report describes, now this is not formal. The formal one should be the purpose of this report is to, you need to use these words. Because I was instructed by your coordinators to give you some idea about the word choice and the word used. So this will help you. If you write, for example, the abstract part of your report, you have to start by writing the purpose of this report is to, it saves your energy and your effort to write on your own. Okay? So look here. This report describes findings from a recent exploratory visit to Shanghai and Guangdong provinces, okay, and makes recommendations regarding the options which Richard Corp, now this is an imaginary company, okay, my company, okay, has. Now, look here, you use the verb form. There's nothing wrong in this neutral abstract part, but it's better for you to nominalize. This is the first thing you need to know. Now, why should I underline these? Because I want you to make a comparison between this report describes, it's quite informal, like talking with you, chatting, a kind of chatting. But this is more formal. By the same token, you have make recommendations. This is good. This phrase is good because it involves verb-noun collocation. So this is good. In itself, per se, it is good. Verb-noun collocation is very important. I'm not teaching you grammar. Maybe grammar is something that you want to bury in oblivion. To bury in oblivion means to forget. But it's better for you to know that in a report, if you want it to look formal and felicitous, it is better for you to use more verb-noun collocations. So this is good. You may keep it. But look here. It's a verb. Verb is okay if it is in a spoken discourse. That means a spoken text. But if you are writing, it's better for you to use here regarding the potential for these operations in these areas. Try to turn a verb into its noun counterpart. That's what we called nominalization. Most words are nominalized. Nominalized means to change a verb form or an adjective form to its noun counterpart. But if you change it to a noun counterpart, this will involve some problems, some technical grammatical problems, because a noun is anyway not a verb. If you change a verb to a noun, then the original verb position will be missing. Then you need to put in another verb to make it like a phrase, like the word. Why do I use make recommendations instead of using the word recommend? Actually, I can use recommend. It's simpler. But recommend is like an informal word, like spoken English. The word recommend, we know that the noun form for the word recommend is recommendations. So you change it to recommendations. However, the verb will be missing. Then you need to put in a verb, okay, to go with it. That's why you have make recommendations. You have make recommendations. It's better than using the word recommend. Okay. So you have this one as an example. Then turn to page 6. Now the whole handout is not actually 20 pages. For the report description, it's only 9 pages because afterwards we'll have the most important part of this workshop. Maybe you understand or you're understanding what I'm talking about. You want to get your hands dirty. You want to really do something as regards to what I've said. Are you really getting along with me? You don't know. But if you do the exercises and then I give you answers, then within this workshop, you will know how much you learned. Okay, so just be patient. You'll understand something. Okay. Now the second one, neutral, is again under abstract. It should be a brief description of the conclusion, recommendation, or purpose, something like that. Now this is the method. We visited 2 factories. Okay. Under abstract, you have a brief description of the methodology. In this case, I want to tell you that we have visited some companies in Shanghai and Guangdong. But as I've said, It's better not to use we. We and I should only appear in recommendations part, in the recommendations part, or in some cases, in the conclusions part. Okay, in some cases. Usually we don't use we unless, as I've said, unless you are part of the company. But in this case study, you are not part of the company. So I don't see any reason you'll use the pronoun I and the pronoun we from abstract to findings. You won't see I and we there. You should make every part formal. So instead of using we visited, it's better for you to write 2 factories were visited. That's why it's made passive. I know you understand the grammar, of course. I'm just telling you the technique of doing this. And the second part here, you see so that. So that is to usher in. To usher in means to lead to. Okay, to usher in the purpose. Okay, why did you visit 2 factories? Oh, because I want to do something. Okay, you use so that, but it's better for you to use infinitive. So that we could assess, it's better for you to use the infinitive in order to replace so that. Now this is about formal and informal. So that is okay, grammatically it's okay. And you can still use so that in your report. But if you want to switch from one to another, sometimes you use in order to, sometimes you use so that. But it's better for you to use infinitive to tell the purpose or purposes of an action. Okay? So use in order to. And then another one, the third one, neutral. The study shows that, I should use this pen. The study shows that. Now this is not as good as this one. If you want to make a conclusion under abstract, near the end, you will say what can be concluded from the whole study, which is a very long, a lengthy description of the whole study. Then you put something under abstract. It's better for you to write, it can be concluded from the study that, instead of the study shows that. Now this is, again, not grammatically wrong or lexically wrong, no. But this is more formal. Also, you see here, you have we. The study shows that although we do not regard China as a market, something like this. Now we, how can we change it? It's better for you to put the object to the subject part. We do not regard China as blah, blah, blah. You can change it to China is not regarded as. That means you are, again, using the passive form instead of we do not regard China. So everything, if you think you want to use the word we and I, and you have really written down, then it's better for you to reformulate it, to use the passive form. And then here, this is very important, grammatically. If you say something is really important, usually you say, oh, this is certainly important. But it's better for you to use of great importance, because the preposition of plus a noun is actually an adjective. This is grammar, which is included. Oh, you don't need to write down because it is in your handout. Everything has been planned. Okay? Of great importance. I know you understand this. From the reading perspective, if you are reading, then of great importance is very simple. But if it's writing, then it will be another story, because you will not pay attention to the formality of a writing. Okay, but you have to pay attention to this. Okay, it's better for you to write of great importance than it is really important. Okay, now the aims. So here again we have nominalization. The word important from the adjective form has been nominalized. You'll hear this word a few times in this workshop. Aims. So the second part is aims. Look at this English. This is good English, spoken. Spoken English is good. Do you not understand what take the temperature of something means? If I say I take the temperature of the boy, that means I really use a thermometer to test his body temperature. But if I take the temperature of something, that means I want to test the market. So it's quite informal. It means test the market. This is not quite proper for report writing. So how can I change it? Now, the original line is the report aims to, now this is not very good, as I've said. This report aims to, which is not very proper, as I've said. It's better for you to write this. The purpose of this report is to, we have learned this just a moment ago. We learned this just a moment ago, so I don't go into it. But take the temperature of the domestic economy. Do you mean to assess? Now, you can use a single verb to replace, here, this one, to replace an informal phrase. To take the temperature of, yes, it's verb noun collocation, to take the temperature of, but it's spoken. It's spoken, it's not formal. Do you mean assess? To assess means to evaluate, okay? Then you can use a verb to replace this, take the temperature of. Okay? And then, you see, find out. These phrases are very often used. I want to find out something. This is spoken English. Then what word will come to your mind? It's better for you to use this word. To ascertain, to get to know. If in spoken English you use the word ascertain, it will be too formal. This only happens at court. At court, when there's a judge up there and there are two barristers down there or a QC, then they'll use such word. Such kind of words like ascertain. Now, this word is not ascertain, okay, please. Okay, this is ascertain. Ascertain, just like the word entertain. Entertain. I want to entertain you, not entertain you. We don't put the stress in the front. It's not entertain, it's entertain. By the same token, we have ascertain. To ascertain means to get to know it, okay? To find out. So you may use this ascertain in your written report, but you use find out when you deliver your oral presentation, okay? And then again, you have another collocation which are useful, okay? There are a lot of collocations which are useful to your report writing, and this is but one. Now look here. After find out, we have this one, to establish contact. To establish contact is the same as to make contact with somebody. But now you make contact with somebody is perfectly okay. But if you want to use a different wording, this is a very good choice. To establish contact, this is another collocation that you need to learn by heart. To establish contact between two people or two companies. Okay? So if you can use establish contact or to make contact. Now, in your case study, you will use make contact very often because it's a human resources problem. You need to meet the family members and you need to meet those applicants for the bakery shop vacancies. Then you need to make contact with somebody or to establish contact with somebody, okay? Here, you have page 7. Under aims, maybe you have another aim, which is to take a second look at. Now, what does it mean by to take a second look at? This is spoken English. You can feel it, okay? To take a second look at means to look at it again. But this is, again, not very formal. It's better for you to use this word, to review. It's very simple. To review means to take a second look at. And then here, again, you see the phrase to help, which is an infinitive. Plus to help, and then plus this bare infinitive. After help, you may use an infinitive. For example, like I help you do your homework, and I help you to do your homework. Both are correct. But I help you do your homework. This is British, more formal. I help you to do your homework. This is American. It's correct, but it's not quite accepted by British people. You know, they are classy, okay? They're so classy, that means so classy, okay? And it's better for you to use the infinitive plus the bare infinitive, especially the word help. To help do something, this is to usher in the purpose. As I've said, to give a purpose, it's better for you to use infinitive, like in order to blah, blah, blah. The word to will precede a verb form in order to help do something. Use this to tell the purpose of a report, of a survey, okay? For findings, you have findings. Now, try not using this we, as I've said. We look at. It's better for you to use the passive form. You say, oh, I've told you. But how to modify the words or how to change the position of the word, this is the main part. We look at the two most economically developed special economic zones like Shanghai and Jiangsu province, or Guangdong province. It's better for you to put the two provinces' name, the provinces' names to the front. Like the territorial focus is on, now look here, the word we is missing. Actually, it's completely replaced by the focus is on. Now the word territorial is optional here because it's just for this case. We are looking at the territorial provinces of China. If you take away the word territorial, the remaining words will be the focus is on. Now the focus is on, it means we look at. It's better for you to use we look at. Try not using the word we. Now I say try not using, but not try not to use because they're different. Try not using means you can use it, but you don't know the result, which is disastrous. If you use we in a report, under findings or under methods, then you run the risk of being, you run the risk of your marks being deducted. But if you use, you can use it, okay? Try using it, or try not using it. That means you can use it, but you run a risk. If I say try not to use it, that means this is something I should stop you. Now, I'm not stopping you. That's why I say try not using, because if you use it, you will run the risk. So I advise you not to use it, okay? But if you insist that you use it, then I'll just let you go. But make sure you're running the risk of improper report format, okay? So use this one. And then you have here, have populations in blah, blah, blah. Now this is quite Cantonese. Both provinces have populations in the higher income brackets. That means the people there can spend a lot of money. It's better for you to say are populated by. In this case, it is just the reverse. Have populations in that kind of bracket. Have populations is like very spoken English and similar to Cantonese. So it's better for you to say the provinces are populated by. Okay? So this is useful. We will talk about the market structure and the number of people who will buy from the bakery shop. So you may use the word population and populated, okay? And again here, if you say the competition is strong, of course this is very important. You will say it, okay? And you say the word income, the highest store income. Now, I trust that you will go home and take a look at the neutral and the formal part by yourselves. I'll just highlight what I want to tell you, okay? If instead of saying competition is strong, you may use there is to normalize it. There is strong, this is better. There is strong competition in, instead of competition is strong. Okay? And income, very often, income is for a person. For example, what is your income? What's your monthly income? If you are talking about a big organization or even a government body, you will not use income. You prefer using the word revenue, or for a company, it will be a turnover. So the word turnover will replace income. So use the proper word. For a company, a big company, then you use the turnover instead of the income. Okay. Then the conclusion part, or the conclusions, okay, as the title is called. You have interpretation, as I've said. If you want to give some explanation or explanations to your findings, put it under conclusions, okay? So if you need any explanation, put it here. So again, the neutral part is, this was an exploratory visit. Exploratory visit means to explore whether there is the possibility of setting up a company there. This is what we call an exploratory visit. Again, if you use the word exploratory, it is an adjective. Can you make it a noun? Yes, exploration. Exploration is noun. So very often we have this kind of device to usher in the noun form. We say something is one of blah, blah, blah. Okay, this time the visit is one of exploration. That means this time we make an exploratory visit. They're the same, but this one is better. Use something like this to usher in the noun form. Okay, one of something. That means this is such kind of case. And then you have, well, here, knowledgeable contexts were established. To replace here, we made many useful knowledgeable contexts. Now here is subject-verb-object structure, and you have we, which is not quite good, as I've said. So how can we change this? Oh, we may change it to knowledge were, or means here, knowledgeable contexts were established to make it passive. And then you have this very important part. And now you may shorten your sentence to include more information without losing the detail. You shorten the sentence without losing information. This is very important. You say, and a positive position were secured. Now, I'm not telling you that a word is missing. No, because it goes parallel. This word were 1, established something, and 2, secured for future discussion. Okay, so you have some kind of grammatical pattern which is very commonly seen in this kind of grammatical patterns is very commonly seen in report. Were, and then the word is saved. This is very important. Don't think that this is active form. Because for a weak reader, you'll think that a positive position secured, but a positive position is something inanimate. How can it secure something? Oh, actually it's passive. Okay, fine. So you may use the passive form in the parallel form, and then here, now for conclusions, as you are deducing something, you're just guessing. It's kind of conjecture. So you should use hedging words like this. The neutral one, this is okay, but it's not as good as this one. You can't, in doing a market research, from your findings, you can't absolutely be sure. I'll use this redundant term. Okay, you can't be sure that something you found will arrive at a certain conclusion. You can't definitely say this is the conclusion. So it's better for you to use hedging words. This is very important. We call this hedging. Like the word can, may, or unlikely, okay? If I say you must do it, and you should do it, and you can do it, you may do it, you will notice that the degree of command is lowered. Okay, this is kind of hedging. If you're a finance student, if you're studying finance, I'm sure you know the word hedging. Hedging means to do something running opposite or counter to what you are now doing, so that even though one side, for example, if you buy a stock which is rising, but you're afraid that it will fall. But if it falls, another stock will definitely rise. Then you will buy these two stocks, because when one stock goes down, another stock will go up. This is kind of a hedging. So in English, hedging words refer to those words that give you some leeway. Give you some leeway means to give you some allowance for the possibility only. It's not certainty. Okay, so you should use more words like this. And then you have collocation offer greater ease. To offer greater ease, that means more easily, more likely. If you don't want to say are likely to be more feasible, then you may say it offer greater ease of entry. Like if you want to go into the market, if you do this, it will offer greater ease. I'm not sure you will go there, but it offers greater ease. So it is another kind of hedging. Okay. Then go to the last part, neutral. Now this is a good phrase under neutral. Express a clear interest in. So I reuse it. But this one, and not, you should change it to rather than. And not is like spoken. And not is like spoken English. Okay, it's A and not B. But if in a report you may say if it is A rather than B. Use rather than instead of and not. So this is better. Here the two phrases are the same because they are very good verb noun collocation. Express interest in. You have verb noun preposition. Okay, so you bear in mind that you need to use a lot of collocated phrases. The more you have learned, the more you can use. Okay, so for recommendations, the last part, it is like this. Although the market is likely, the market is likely to be loosened. You use the word likely. It's okay, it's perfectly okay. But is it better for you to change the adjective to its noun form? Yes, the probable deregulation. That means the market is likely to be loosened. What does it mean by loosen? If the market is likely to be loosened, that means the government supervision is reduced. There is a word called deregulation. You should know this word. Deregulation means the government regulations are loosened a bit. Okay, so use the word deregulation. And because you're not sure, you use the word probable. Okay, to replace something is likely to happen. Now, something is likely to happen is spoken. You may write in your report, but it's better for you to change it to the word likelihood, low likelihood, or the probable deregulation. Use the word probable. Use the noun form likelihood, whatever. It's better, okay? And then here. Now, here is correct. You say, oh, why? The formal one, you have the word we. We just said we can't use the word we. But please bear in mind that this is recommendations. Under recommendations, you can, and it's better for you to use we and I. Why? The reason is that a report is a valuable device, a valuable vehicle, simply because the boss of some company, hires you, and he will look into your recommendations. So the recommendations are formulated by you. You will bear the responsibility. In order to tell the boss that I will bear the responsibility, or our group will bear the responsibility, I have to use the word we, because these hypotheses are really formulated by us or by me. So you have to use I and we under recommendations. When you use we, of course you'll use we recommend that. If you use we recommend that, you'll use the basic verb form. Now this is not a typo. It's not a typing mistake. You say, what does it mean by China not be seen? I'm quite sure in Form 6 and Form 7 you learned it. China should not be seen, but the word should is saved. Why? Please go to page 20. The last page. We seldom use the first and second personal pronouns in writing summary to conclusions, okay? This is, it's not finished, but I have to refer to this part first, okay? We seldom use. Seldom use, it doesn't mean you can't use. No, as I've said, if you're part of the company, you can use our, we, anywhere. But if it's not your company, you can't use my visit. You can't say my visit. Instead, you should make the verb passive. That's what we discussed before. And then if you use, it's better for you to use it and they together with a suitable passive verb. So you have seen a lot of things like this, okay? But for recommendations, you should use I recommend that, or we recommend that, or it is recommended that. You may use the word recommend. Now, I include the word we because I know that in this case study, you are working as a group. Not a single entity, not a single individual, I would say. Not an individual, okay? So you may use we, or maybe use the passive form, it doesn't matter. But you should pay attention to the grammar. I recommend that, for example, the investment should be deferred. But the word should can be omitted in a that clause. If you start the sentence with I recommend that, we recommend that, or it is recommended that, then the word should can be scrapped or saved or omitted. Okay? This is grammar. Of course, you may use the word should. You may say, it is recommended that the investments should be deferred. Then there is one more word. It's grammatically perfect. But if you want to do something on grammar, then you may just scrap the word should. Okay? So everything is here. Can I lead you to page 10? So this is the last example. And then I give you a lot of things to copy. And then you will, and then you need to use your head to think, okay, of course. Now, so that, as I've said, it's better for you to use the infinitive form instead of so that. This is another example. So can I make a conclusion here, or to do a summary, just like at court, the barrister for the defendant and the barrister for the plaintiff will make separate summaries, okay? So I'll make a summary very soon. Under exercise 3. Actually, everything has been highlighted here. Now, let's look at exercise 1. You may go home and do it. There are 4 cases. Can you look at the following excerpts? Excerpts means only part of a memo or a letter or an email. For each of the excerpts, write the aims the aims of the report. Now, I give an example like this. Assuming that you were John and your boss asked you to do this. John, can you get the report ready for me by next Thursday? I want you, okay. For the purpose, a purpose must be led by an infinitive. With an infinitive, you can give a purpose. So the opposite is also true. That means vice versa. Vice versa. You have an infinitive to usher in the purpose. So this must be the purpose. To present an overview of the personnel department. But what's the overview? Oh, it's about structure and organization. So the answer will be something like this. We'll turn to the PowerPoint. Now, you need not copy, or maybe you want to copy. It doesn't matter. I just give you, we'll just press the first one like this one, okay? Now, this is the answer, okay? You say, according to what you have learned, you use the phrase, the purpose of this report is to, the first line, to usher in the purpose. And then you join the second part, give an overview of the structure and organization of the personnel department. Now, what's the message here? The message is that you should try to incorporate one aim in one sentence and try to nominalize everything behind the infinitive. Okay? It's very easy. Okay, you say, oh, it's easy, fair. And if you understand, then we can, that's okay. Then let's go to number 2, okay? Number 2. You have some time going back to here. You just copy the main point, okay? The second one. Now, you may try doing this. Jane, assuming that this time you were called Jane, don't forget the weekly sales report. The first two are quite simple, but C and D are quite difficult, okay? Sales report. Okay, so we are making a sales report using sort of thing like a product progress update. In your sales report, you will do some product progress update and survey of week's events in the market. Okay, then how can you put these 3 items into one single line? Now, the start of the sentence will be the purpose of this report, or this time it is the purpose of this sales report is to what? Oh, look for a verb. After to, it must be a verb. You may use the word update. To update product progress. When it is a noun, it's update. When it's a verb, it's update. Just like when it's a noun, it's import. When it's a verb, it's import. Just like when it is a noun, it is increase. When it's a verb, it's increase. Don't get them wrong, okay? Okay, look at the answer, okay? You understand, okay, the objective of this sales report. Now, the word sales, S-A-L-E-S, I'm quite sure when you are going to present your verbal description of your case study someday, if you have the luck, you will say sales report. But every Hong Kong person or even citizen or student is, I don't know why, is very hurried. They like to pronounce it like sale report without S. Now, sale is different from sales. If you're talking about sales report, it must be sales report. It means that the volume of trading, the turnover, the income, sort of things like that. We call it sales report. The word sale, however, is different. Sale means to sell things. If you're talking about the volume of trading, then it must be sales. No matter how hurried you are, you should not miss a syllable. Okay? Fine. The third one. Peter, assuming that this time you were called Peter. Look here. Okay. Peter, I read your report last night. Very interesting. Oh, this is a garbage. I particularly liked the part where you presented the results of your interview. I would never have guessed that the man in the street would prefer to see less rather than more TV. I think it's about watching TV, okay? The aim is to watch TV. Also, your findings as regards favorite program type were quite eye-opening. So, can you guess the purpose of this report? What was Peter asked to do? Can you use your own words? Use your own words. Of course, you will not copy words verbatim. You will not copy words verbatim means that you will not copy word for word, okay? Now, according to these two pieces of information, it seems that Peter, that means you are required to talk about something, about Hong Kong people's TV watching habits, sort of things like that, or their preferences, their program preferences, their TV watching preferences, sort of things like that. So the answer will be like this. We look at the PowerPoint, okay? Then here the aim. Now this is worthwhile copying down this answer. The aim of this report is to investigate. Now use the word investigate as the case in your case study. Investigate television viewing preferences among the public. So you can make your own words, so long as it incorporates the real aim of your report. Use the word investigate is very good. Okay. And the last one, because time is running short, I have to give you the answer. The purpose of this report is to assess. Now you just learned the word assess. Assess means to find out. Okay. So that's under D. D is spoken. Your boss asks you to do something. So he should use spoken text. But if you're going to write in your report, you'll use formal words like assess. Now, what does it mean by feasibility? As I said at the beginning of this workshop, feasibility means workability. Possibility is feasibility. Okay, of the company's expansion is copied from it. Into this time is the European market. Now, this word is pronounced as European. Now, this is out of the scope, but I just want you to listen to something when you're copying. Now, this word is not European. The stress is not on Europe, it's on P, European. Just like what you will watch this Sunday on Pearl by Johnny Depp is the Pirates in the Caribbean. Caribbean, not Caribbean, remember, okay? It's Caribbean, so stress is something that matters. Okay, exercise 2. Now, this is very simple. Simple, but you need to know. Look at these findings. Let's talk about findings. Complete the sentences. Okay, there are many sentences. Then you complete the sentence under each finding. Okay. Now, this is very easy. You just tell me, most of the company's efforts are centered on. Centered means concentrates. Now, if I want to use a noun, because normalization is important, if I want to use a noun as the object at the back, then there must be some reason I can put the noun there. So can you... Actually, to put it frankly here, what can you and should you put after concentrate so that it can be followed by a noun? We say concentrate on something. Concentrate on something means to be centered on something. So this part, look at the PowerPoint. You have concentrate on and then you copy the same. You don't need to copy this answer. Just need to highlight the part that you need to copy. For A, the company concentrates on blah, blah, blah. So you learn the phrase concentrate on. For example, you advise the bakery shop owner that, you should concentrate on something. Then you use a noun afterwards. Okay, the second one. Now, the second one is active form. If I put the object to the subject position, then this is the answer. It's the passive form. That's what you learned. You need to make the verb passive, so as to make it formal. The original sentence given is distributes. A chain of specialized stores distributes something. Top quality imported products. Then you can write top quality imported products are distributed by or through a chain of stores. Now this word again is distribute. It's not distribute. There is no such way of pronunciation. You can't find it in the dictionary, okay? But the word contribute is correct. Contribute and contribute are both correct, but distribute must be distribute. In the original sentence, it reads, there is strong competition at blah, blah, blah. You can write, under C, okay? Many companies are in keen competition, okay? You can use the word keen to collocate with competition, okay? The next one, D, E, and F. This is D. Now, what you need to copy is up to the colon. The colon. From the second line, the person blah, blah, blah is actually copied word for word from the example. But you need to know how to categorize your items. If in some cases, in your writing up the report, when you're writing the report, You may need to say, oh, I want to divide something into blah, blah, blah. You may use divide or categorize, okay? The market is divided into 3 categories of consumer. Then there are 3 kinds, okay? So you may use are divided into or are categorized into. You may use more words. If you know the preposition into after divided, then you can use a noun after that preposition. Now, write down here, besides the word divided, you can use the word categorize, which comes from this word, okay? This is the British spelling. British spelling is S-E. American spelling is Z-E. They're the same, okay? But one is British, one is American, okay? So very easy. So E, we'll look at E later. You understand that this is categorized. It's categorized. Okay, the stress is on cat, the first syllable. Okay, look at E. We have looked into the possibility. We have looked at the possibility. Look into the possibility. Okay, we have looked into the possibility of the incident. Then about an animal passing through. Is there really an animal passing through the fence? So it is electrocuted, something like that. Then what the answer should be? It should be like this. Because according to the example, we have looked into the possibility, but it seems that it is not possible. How can you say we looked into the possibility, but actually this possibility doesn't exist? It's so long. It's better for you to write, we have ruled out the possibility. The collocation is to rule out the possibility. So all you need to copy is up to the second line. We have ruled out the possibility of the incident. And then after incident, it's actually copied from there. Okay? After investigation, we have ruled out the possibility. Okay? Then you will have a short verb form which collocates with a very short verb form which collocates with a noun. Okay, exercise 3. Now this part we have discussed. Look here. We have discussed this part. I know time is short. That's why I did this for you. And we have done it. Identify some of the differences between formal and neutral language in the various parts on pages 5 to 10. That's what is like this. Okay, which one is like on page 5? Instead of writing the report, this report describes, it's better to write the purpose of this report is to, something like that. So you have highlighted everything. So this appears on page 12 again. Now, here, I will simply give you answers. Here. We go to this PowerPoint, the richest skill 1. Now, I want to conclude what we have learned here. Okay. Now, you really need to copy really fast. Okay. There are 4 rules when you write a report, a formal report. Try to use compound prepositional phrases as much as possible. With preposition and noun, and with preposition, it's easier for you to write a formal report. The second one, I'll give you answers later. On page 15, use more participles. This is grammatical, okay? On 15, use more participles, like use ing at the beginning of a sentence. There are 4 ways. The third way is on page 16. Change participial phrases. Now, participial phrases means a phrase beginning with a participle. Okay. Change. If you don't want to use a participle at the beginning, you may change it to a prepositional phrase if there is such a prepositional phrase. Then what is a prepositional phrase? Like this. In view of, in response to, from the blah 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 point of view. These are prepositional phrase or phrases. Okay. The last one, last but not least, 17. Change an adjective or an adverb to a prepositional phrase. That's what I said. You did not need to copy because everything was included in your handout. Now this is the formula. A preposition plus noun is actually an adjective or an adverb. Okay, then now you're going to copy from 13. There are 4 ways. What I have talked to you so far are these 4 skills with examples. Okay, so for 13, please copy these if you want to. This is an example. Look here. At that point in time, if you want to say now or then, you may change it to at that point in time. So the left side is better. The right side is normal, common. Okay? Then go to the PowerPoint. You have all the words here. By virtue of. By virtue of means by means of. Means through some methods. And then you have in view of. If you want to give reasons, you want to say because of blah, 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 it's better for you to use in view of. If you want to say about, I want to talk about the accident, you may say, I want to give you a talk with respect to the incident. With respect to means about. Okay, the next PowerPoint slide. If we have in respect of, again means about. For the word about, there are a lot of prepositional phrases. If you don't want to use with regard to, you may use in respect of or with reference to. For example, when you are writing a letter, you say with reference to your letter, dated the 4th of October. With reference to means about, concerning, with regard to your letter. In relation to, that means relating to, okay, the same. Is again, it means about, okay? The next one, you have in terms of. Now, this is very important. In terms of, the word term must have an S. There is no such phrase as in term of. Now, there is no in term of. It must be in terms of. In terms of means in that. Okay? For example, in terms of money, we should not invest in machinery. In terms of, that means as regards that part, in this area of discussion, in terms of, that means in. In excess of, very obvious, it's blindingly obvious. Okay, in excess of means more than. In favor of means good. You support. In favor of means support. In opposition to means against. Okay, the support side and the opposed side, I would call it. Okay, and then here, the last few. If you say near the area, for example, near the Guangdong province, you may say in the vicinity of Guangdong province. In the vicinity of or in close proximity to, they all mean near. Near a place. It's spatially near. On the basis of means based on or by or from. It's the same. On the basis of. If you don't understand any phrases, you may go back home and check the dictionary because I'm quite sure that you understand most or even all of the phrases here. Okay? Here you have in the nature of, in a form of, in a form of. This is kind of comparison. Like, that means kind of a comparison. You say in the nature of something or in the form of something. In accordance with is usually used for law. In accordance with means to obey some law in accordance with or under some law, by some law. During the course of means during that period. Okay? It seems that we are running out of time, but something very important I have to explain to you is 17 to 18. Now, I will skip 15 to 16. I'll skip because they are only examples. Examples for you to refresh your grammar, okay, about the use of participle. But 17 is something that you can't miss. 17 is Richard's skill 4. If you don't copy this, I'm not sure how I can give you back the answers. That's why we have to go back here. Now, this is useful in the sense that if you don't want to use the adjective, like here, then what can you use? This book is very useful. Then how can you say it? How can you put it into noun form? You should put a preposition here and then noun. You can write like this. Look at the PowerPoint. Okay, so you know what you need to copy. We are going to the PowerPoint, okay? So this book is very useful. You can say this book is of great use. Now you need to learn it by heart. There is no reason why you have to use of. It is a phrase, a chunk, what we call a chunk in English. Of use means useful. They are identical. To be of use. Just like a moment ago, you learned very important. It is of great importance. You use the noun form importance, then it's also a responsibility to remember the word, to memorize it of importance. By the same token, you have this one. Is there any valuable item in your luggage? then what will you use? Now, you just use the noun form of the adjective, valuable. The noun form is value. Then it must come like this. Is there any item, something, value, in your luggage? Is the preposition guess? It's of. Is there any item of value? Of value means valuable. Very simple, so use more. So I've given you a lot. At the bottom of page 17, you know a lot: to no avail, in vain, the old prepositional phrases. And here, another example, the third example on page 17, she can handle this kind of situation easily. Now for easily, what's the noun form? The noun form is ease, E-A-S-E. But what's the preposition? If you think that it should be of because of is so common, then this time you are barking up the wrong tree. That means you're wrong. Okay, it should be with ease. So there is no reason and no logic why the preposition should be something. It's like Chinese idioms. There must be some parables or fables behind. But for English, it's a chunk. It comes in a chunk. Okay, B, the last part. Really the last part. I should give you the answers. Maybe, no. Time is now not running short. Okay, we have 4 more minutes, okay? I'm sure we can finish it. I'll give you 1 minute to fill in the 4 blanks. Now I have given you the suggestion here, the suggested words here. Useless, very useful, painstakingly, easily, all. You can cover your eyes and do them, except for number 3. But you can find the phrase in the table. Simple? Mm-hmm. Okay, we may look at the PowerPoint. The first one is simple. In vain, as on page 17, at the bottom of page 17, in vain or to no avail. To no avail means useless. Typewriters are not of use. Of use means very useful. Not of use or of great use, as you like. Okay, if you want to keep the meaning of very. You may say typewriters are no longer used or are not here, are not of use. Or you may say, can I write typewriters are not in use? Yes, you may. You have in use and of use. Of use means useful. In use means still being used. So there is some difference in meaning, but both are correct, okay? If I say very useful, I will use of use, okay? The third one is very important, although you can copy it from the table. I finished writing my dissertation. Dissertation means a thesis, with painstaking effort. Now, don't get me wrong. I need to give you some explanation to the word painstaking. The word tells you something that is not exactly the meaning of that word. Now, you look at the word painstaking, you find the word pain. So painstaking, that's what you guess. It means something very painful. You do the dissertation in 8 months' time, then it must be very painful. Now, this word doesn't mean painful. Painstaking means careful. Painstaking means careful. So with painstaking effort, that means I do it exceptionally carefully. Okay, that means painstakingly. Painstakingly means carefully. Okay. The last one, last but not least. Okay, very easy with ease. Can I go to 19 and give you some highlight? Okay, I'll highlight something. Okay. Now you go home and read it because page 20. Page 20 is done. For 19, the conclusion parts, because everything must be hedged. Suggests possibility and uncertainty. That means you should hedge your conclusions. Hedge your conclusions means you should not be too firm about what you say. Then there is a list of phrases for you to use. I don't need to go further. I don't need to dig deep into those words inside the table. You have it can be concluded that it's possible that, it's improbable that, likely that, blah, 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 and then recommendations in the last part, you can use the pronoun I and we here. Okay, look here. You may use recommendations. You can use I and we here. It's better because everything, the recommendations are made by you. Okay, so that's why you can use I and we. In very few cases, we'll use I and we in conclusions or the other parts, unless you are part of the company. Okay. Now, thank you very much for your patience and attending this workshop. I hope I have done my part and done it well. So maybe I'll pass this back to the MC. Okay. Thank you very much.